Hello there, and welcome to my review for the season finale of Star Wars Rebels. The episodes being A Fool's Hope and Family Reunion and Farewell. So this is a total of 90 minutes, a 30-minute episode, and a 60-minute episode. Beginning with A Fool's Hope, we have a lot to break down. So, it, so we find out pretty quickly that Hondo, Ketsu, Wolf, and Gregor are back, and also the dialogue it makes the implication that Wolf and Gregor are somehow part of the Rebel Alliance. I'm not sure what they were trying to go for there. I think that maybe they were listening posts for the Rebel Alliance is the implication because they specifically talk about as their location as a base and also as they talk about Rebel Command. So that gives me the impression. Also, in that same scene, we learn that Hondo does not like being called a smuggler, that he prefers the term pirate. And later on in the episode, Ryder betrays the rebels to Price, though I suspected that it would be a ploy to capture Price, which is later proven to be correct in the episode. I think that was kind of a given since we did see Price in cuffs and Ryder with them in a preview. It kind of makes some sense. And also, I liked how the ghost was able to sneak onto the Saw. So, it's reminiscent of like back when the Falcon attached itself to the back of a Star Destroyer near its waste dump area thing. Um, and also that the ghost essentially sneaks a ride on a cargo ship using the same magnetic lamps on the side of the vessel in order to power down. And of course, this is apparently used to Hondo's knowledge of, let's call it pirating, since he doesn't like smuggling. Also, we get to see the Lost Wolves help fight against the Empire, and they appear to defeat Rook, but they don't. We find that later out in the second episode. And also, we get a callback to Wolf Pack. Gregor makes a call out, and referencing the Lost Wolves. But that was just so nice, like calling it all out. There was a couple other things I probably could have mentioned from that episode, but it was kind of basic. It was kind of more of a standard episode of Rebels, per se, a standard good episode. So let's go on now to the second episode, Family Reunion and Farewell. So it opens up with Ezra remembering his parents and their sacrifice in the fight to free Lothal early on, and that will come back to play later on in the episode. But when the rebels are sneaking aboard the Imperial Command Dome, there is a trooper that is dressed very much like the Death Star troopers. In Legends, they've been called Death Star troopers and Imperial Naval troopers, but I kind of like seeing that uniform design again. I kind of hope we get to see that more for enlisted Imperials that are not Stormtroopers. And Callus is also seen wearing one in disguise. And then they mention Protocol 13, which is stated in this episode to be a new protocol for for Imperials to return back to base for an evacuation. I have a feeling this was used in Rogue One for some reason. It was used in Rogue One for Imperials to evacuate Jeddah, I believe. But anyhow, it's nice to kind of know more about how that even works. And then we get to see that Rook does survive and he escapes. And he was going to kill the rebel that was still with the ghost. The three of them, it was Jun Sato's son, Wolf, and that one criminal the rebels had interactions with in the good portion of the early first season, or mainly the first season, some of the second season, I believe. And then they get to see him again when they captured that one mining guild operations craft. But Rook was going to kill them, but the Lost Wolves come and saved them. So Rook just took a Imperial patrol transport and left. So also when the rebels were given Protocol 13 when they instituted, they had Callus of course call it. But we learned that Ryder can imitate Colonel Lauren of the ISB. He was also in the Clone Wars as a Republic Admiral. That was kind of neat to see that. Got to see people imitating other people. Another thing about I want to mention about Cast is that when they were landing at the Imperial Command Dome, they had Price, of course, give the clearance codes and all that, and Callus they specifically had Callus tell Price that he would know if she was using the wrong codes, which is true. He would know that. But when the rebels have taken control of the dome, the command center, and got all the troops locked up in the dome, Thrawn arrives and he essentially first Ezra contacts him, and Thrawn says if you don't surrender I'll destroy the city, and then as a show he actually does open fire in the city, and then when Ezra does agree to surrender, Thrawn does stop firing. So and then of course Ezra was going to go, but they talked him out of it, which they really didn't. But so they started playing on what they could actually do, and Ezra decides to sneak up through the pipe, through the ductwork, which we haven't really seen Ezra do in a while, actually. So kind of a callback to the older episodes where that was almost used as a big cliche and a trope. The only rebel who really notices it was Sabine, and so Sabine kind of distracts the rest of and Chopper also goes along with it too, by the way. But Sabine distracts the rest of the rebels so Ezra can climb up into the ductwork. Eventually, the rebels catch on, but it does actually serve the purpose of distracting Thrawn, because really, a prisoner, Thrawn talking with somebody can provide a distraction for Thrawn, really, was to find out more. But so Ezra goes to meet Thrawn while the rebels work on a plan and come up with a plan to restore the shield generator. And then of course when Ezra gets aboard Thrawn's destroyer, he's handcuffed, taken to Thrawn. He and Thrawn have a chat and talking about power and a bunch of stuff, and the artwork and relics, you can say, of Lothal, from Lothal. I don't know really how to describe the artifacts of Lothal, you can recall them. And Ezra says that Thrawn has no right to have them because he doesn't really understand them. I don't know, Thrawn of all the Imperials probably has the most right to actually collect artifacts and artwork from a plane because he actually likes to study that stuff. So he's kind of saying that to the wrong Imperial, but the point still stands that, yeah, taking that stuff by force is not really the best way. But Thrawn goes on talking about power and all that jazz. So that happens. So Thrawn brings Ezra to a room that has a piece of the Jedi Temple on Lothal in it, and there is an hologram of the Emperor. There is an altered hologram to make the Emperor appear younger and not deformed from his own force lightning, which is kind of neat to see. And then, of course, though going back to what the rebels are going on, we learn that Ezra did have a plan for Thrawn's arrival. The three rebels who were still with the Ghost. That's how we learn. And they go up to the high atmosphere to transmit on frequency 0. And the Ghost transmits this from high orbit, as I said. And of course, and all we find out at that point is they're going to contact a what. But Wolf specifically makes mention that nobody uses frequency 0 anymore. So that's kind of interesting. So somebody did use frequency 0 at one time. Now we do learn what is contacted on that frequency 0 later on, and I'm going to hold off on that for now. But it is another good callback to a previous episode of Rebels, and really in this entire ending, Dave Filoni does a very good job of bringing in all the loose strings, all the stuff we saw were just included in the, why am I forgetting, in the quote-unquote filler episodes. He does a good job of bringing all that stuff in. I forgot to mention that also Hondo's Ugnaught friend does appear in both these episodes. I think his name is Mitch or Milch, something like that name. But back in the Imperial dome basing, that the basis of operations is looking at, the rebels are fighting in the shield generator room in order to restore the shield so they can protect the city against the Imperial Star Destroyers. And Hondo's friend, his Ugnaught friend, Mitch, I wish I remember, takes a blaster bolt and appears to die. What we actually find out later that he doesn't die, but it's kind of like Ugnaughts must have very tough skin because it was in the chest, and Gregor actually does take a blaster bolt to the chest in the episode as well. And I'm going to say what happens to him, but I think you might know what I'm getting at here. But the thing going on with Ezra and the Emperor. So Ezra resists Palpatine's, or should I say, the dark side's temptation to be with his parents. It's a very emotional scene and all that, and I really wish I quite understood what was going on. Like, did Ezra really ever actually have the option of, going back to the past to live with his family? I honestly don't think so. He never actually truly had that option, though the Emperor wants him to think he did have the option. But I predicted that Ezra was going to resist that temptation early on, but man, did it kept on stalling and putting it off, driving up the suspense. But so when Ezra does that, he essentially destroys that piece of the Jedi temple from the Saw, and the Emperor's hologram is restored to the Emperor's actual appearance. So that is kind of neat to see. And Palpatine's royal guard appear, and they actually put up a pretty decent fight. We see them without their ceremonial robes on, just their armor, and we see their force pikes in use, and they're able to kind of behave like force telekinesis. And the stormtroopers come in, and Ezra uses the force to throw rocks at them in order to get away. And back in the shield generator room, the rebels are essentially pinned down. Hey, I think I got this stuff out of order. Oh well. But Zeb, Nox. Yeah, I do have this out of order when Gregor takes a blaster bolt. That's more after this scene. Or is it before? Man, I wish I fully remembered. But anyhow, so Ezra runs and jumps down, knocks Rourke and himself off the walkway to where the electrical stuff for the shield generator is, which is the similar look and design to the shield generator, the side of the shield generator on Endor. Kinda nice to see that. Now Rourke, and then it's later shown that Rourke appears to die when the shield generators are activated. First we get to hear him screaming, but it's implied that Rourke dies, and we know he eventually dies at the end of the episode when the Imperial dome basing is destroyed. But Mitch, we find out, survives, but Gregor unfortunately dies. So that is kind of sad. But back up on the Star Destroyer, Captain Pelion is mentioned. Yes, he is mentioned. I am so happy about that. Though it appears he dies right away. And not the best thing I would like for that character. But it's nice that we get a call out to him. And from that one episode when the rebels discovered came across a mining guild operations in the asteroid belt, and there's these hyperspace creatures, these creatures that are weird, like they can fly through hyperspace. I forget their actual name, but they appear in this episode, and they essentially wipe out the entire Imperial fleet, probably dragging them into hyperspace with them. And it is implied that they are contacted on that frequency 0, which I believe so. And also, during all this happens, Sorn shoots Ezra in the shoulder, because Ezra makes his way onto the bridge of the Chimera, and then he takes out the Death Troopers with ease. And, I should also mention that right as the rebels begin their evacuation of the Imperial dome base command center, Chopper hands Sabine Ezra's lightsaber. So Ezra does not have his lightsaber during all this. Chopper did, and he hands it to Sabine. And they escape on the Ghost, of course. But the rebels destroy the Imperial command dome, and Governor Pryce is killed. And then either it's on the Ghost or Chopper shows it, but Ezra leaves a goodbye recording, and there is implication that Ezra plans to return. But should be noted that those space whales, as I'm calling them, from lack of remembering their name, pulled the entire Imperial fleet, including the Star Destroyer that Thrawn and Ezra are on, into hyperspace. Though it seems like Ezra was aware that this was a possibility. And for all we know, Ezra and Thrawn might be just chatting it up somewhere, waiting for some people to stumble across them. That could very well be the implication. Who knows for sure? Really, who knows for sure? But then we come to the end, and Lathal's appearance miraculously improved, kind of reminiscent at the end of The Lion King when Mufasa, not Mufasa, yeah, Mufasa, right? No, Simba. Sorry, Mufasa is Simba's father. Simba defeats Scar, and then Lion King and the frightenings are miraculously restored. The same thing kind of happens to the Saw. It starts shining again, the pure white, like how we saw in that one kind of flashback, visiony-esque thing that we saw in earlier season. So that is kind of interesting. And then we get to the ending scene for all, and it's implied that the Saw becomes this strong Rebel Alliance world. And I think this is only taking probably a few weeks before Rogue One. That's the implication I get. Still don't understand how the reference to the Saw being liberated in Battlefront 2, with Iden Dell being present on the Rebel side. I'm not sure how that's going to work in, at least at this point. I do have a theory which I'll get on later on here. So, and then we get to the true ending scene, and Sabine again has a new haircut, new hair color, and repainted her armor. And the ending, and she's at that tower where Ezra was living at the beginning, and it's like almost a shot-for-shot remake, just with a totally different character. But then she goes on to narrate the epilogue, as I'm calling it. So there's a lot going on, but in that scene we actually see 3 X-wings and a T6 shuttle that the Jedi we saw use in the Clone Wars. It again appears later on in this epilogue, but I want to talk about a few other things. It is confirmed that Captain Rex fights in the Battle of Endor. So that providing he was fighting on the ground, that one soldier on Endor that looks like Rex is Rex, which I am happy about. I'm pretty sure we'll find out for sure in Rebels Recon. It also is said that Hera has a son named Jason Syndulla, and of course it's not stated for sure, but Sabine's narration says we all know what his father was like, so it has to be Kanan. And it's implied that he's old enough to fight at the Battle of Endor. So apparently a roughly 5 to 6 year old human Twi'lek hybrid is old enough to fight in war. Talk about this. I'm not so sure about that, but it is always a possibility. So that's the 3rd human Twi'lek hybrid we've seen for sure in Star Wars as a whole. We saw 2 others in the Clone Wars. What if you ever see Cutler Crane again? That'd be kind of nice. So that's a callback to an episode of the Clone Wars, in case you didn't know. Also, it is stated in that epilogue that Lothal is never invaded again by the Imperials, but that doesn't necessarily mean, or never taken back by the Empire, but that does never mean there's actually any battles defending Lothal. So that could be how Dal and Iden helped fight to quote unquote liberate Lothal, or at least in the battle near Lothal. That is a good implication, because it's always possible. And there probably were also Imperial holdouts on Lothal for a while. There's a lot going on in there, but the main thing is at the very end, we get to see Ahsoka once again. It's implied that she was piloting the T6 shuttle, so again we need to somehow account for why Ahsoka and Luke Skywalker has so far never met. But it's always possible because most of the adventures between between A New Hope and Empire for the Rebels adventures, that couple year gap, about 3-4 year gap there, is heavily covered in the comics. But we don't know as much from after Luke's time on Dagobah to Endor and Endor to the beginning of the Force Awakens. All we know for sure in that time that he was traveling the galaxy with his nephew Ben Solo, and also had encounters with Lor San Tekka, met Delph on probably a few occasions, and Ben Chapilio, and potentially Chandrila. So they still got some stories that they could interact, but also it is strongly implied that Sabine and Ahsoka go to look for Ezra after the Battle of Endor. So it's also implied that Sabine took a specific line in in Ezra's farewell message that we get to see, specifically directed towards you know what you do, that she took it to mean protect Lothal, but over time she thinks it actually meant something different. It probably is to go find him. It's also implied that that they both have some kind of feelings for each other. We know that Ezra in the beginning was kind of, did have a crush on her. It's possible that eventually they did develop maybe stronger feelings, but we never get to see it. It's only a slight implication. Could also be more in line to a more brotherly sister type of relationship, which is very possible, maybe even more possible. But also it appears that she painted a mural of the entire Ghost crew, and I don't remember seeing Kenny on there, but I'm sure he was on there. Though one thing that my ending epilogue does not address is what happened to Wolf. Did he survive? Did he fight? Where did he help fight? I would like to know some more. What did he do? I really want to know. But I did kind of like how they explained away Ezra not being there. And Thrawn could still be alive. He could still be dead. He could have died. So Ezra could be dead for sure. But really, Thrawn and Ezra's ultimate fate is truly unknown. Did they die? Are they alive? Are they just hanging out waiting for somebody? What's going on? But I did like how Thrawn was defeated. Not truly death, but definitely not surviving for sure either. But I really like how it's something Thrawn could not have really accounted for. I couldn't, none of us fans even predicted how this was going to end correctly. I know most of my predictions were incorrectly. So, were there any actual thing? So, could Thrawn actually have predicted those creatures appearing? I am actually not too sure he could have actually predicted them. Maybe he might have been, but I don't think so. Because he doesn't predict them, and I don't think he could have predicted them. Because they appeared in one episode, half of the people considered to be plot filler, so yeah. So I really don't think there was any way for Thrawn to actually, well, appear or predict that at all. Just like us fans, I don't think would ever be predicted. Well, anyhow, that's really all I need to say for this. I'm sure I'll be doing some videos on this. Probably a few reactions to the other Star Wars Rebels reviews out there, because, man, there's so much on here. I am planning on doing a proper breakdown of the ending epilogue at some point. Because there's, I think, a large breakdown there. I was just jotting down notes as I could remember as they went by. And there's only so much you can actually jot down at really any given time. Especially when there is a lot included. Well, thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, and I would like to hear from you. Let me know in the comments down below, what did you think of these episodes of Star Wars Rebels? And are you satisfied with the conclusion to Rebels? I'm satisfied, I myself am satisfied for the most part, but why did Dave Filoni still have to give us some open ending? He could have really nicely put it all together though. Unless this somehow connects to that potential Star Wars Resistance brand that's coming out. I'm going to use brand because it may not be a series, but it might be a series. You might hear more going on. Who knows for sure? But I'm satisfied for the most part. I just really wish we didn't have those few open ends still. But hopefully we'll get them solved eventually. Maybe even in Star Wars Episode 9 we might get it. Who knows for sure. But also consider subscribing to my channel for future Star Wars content, and also consider supporting me on Patreon. Not only do you get help, not only do you get your help support my channel for as little as $1 per month, but you also get extra goodies such as commentaries on my videos or sneak peeks at certain videos. Well, all I need to say is have a good day, a good night, wherever you are. May the force be with you always.